Hi, I'm Dr. Mallory Bradley with HealthTalkBrevard.com. If you want to know more about me, check out my bio on the website. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. In the future, we'll be giving you the chance to have your questions answered during the interviews. Today, we're interviewing Dr. Goode with Goode Chiropractic Center. He's been in practice since 1957. How long have you been a chiropractor in Melbourne, Florida?
It nearly seems like forever, Dr. Mallory. We originally came from Kentucky, took our training at Palmer Chiropractic College, Davenport, Iowa. We looked Kentucky over, and we had a friend in Florida invite us down, come to Florida over, and that was in 1957. We came to Melbourne, and we liked Melbourne so well, we decided not to look any further, and we came here.
Where did you open your first office in Melbourne?
Our first office was on New Haven Avenue, close to the Ruth Henniger Center now. We were in from our police chief at the time, converted his little residence into an office, and began to help people right there on New Haven.
Dr. Goode, I know technology has changed a little in the last 55 years. Tell us a little bit about how it was to start your practice in 1957.
It was fun. It was a challenge. We came to Melbourne with just barely enough money to get the first month expenses paid, and we had to have patients right away. We went around meeting people. We put a little ad in the paper. I had a little talk show on the radio, got acquainted with some people there, and first thing you know, people got acquainted with began to come as patients, and we began to help people, and they began to tell people about it, and our practice grew from the very start.
What would you tell someone about what a chiropractor does? A lot of people still don't know what a chiropractor actually does, so can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, that's a good question, Dr. Mallory. Specifically, chiropractic exists because Dr. Palmer's discovered a principle that causes the body to be able to stay healthy and to function good. Based around this principle, the brain is in charge, and the brain has to communicate with all parts of the body. And it does this by way of the nervous system, which exits the brain through the neck, out through the spinal nerves, into every part of the body. So in chiropractic, we discover areas that the nervous system has lost control, which is along the spinal column. We determine what causes that interference, and we figure out how to correct it or else improve on it. And this gives the brain charge, and the brain begins to control function, the body begins to function again. Pain goes away, and the person becomes healthy.
I'm sure you've seen a lot of people in your time as a chiropractor. Is there any specific story that sticks out in your mind of a patient that you've helped?
We get success stories every week, Dr. Mallory, but there's one that really does stand out, comes to mind. I won't mention any names, but this was several years ago. We'd already moved locations once at that time. This lady had been in an automobile accident, and of course they took her to the hospital. In the hospital, they x-rayed her and examined her, and they tried to figure out what was causing her pain. She was in severe pain. And after a little over a week, they could not find the cause for her pain. Her sister had to move down from the north to take care of her, so they let her go home, but she's in constant pain. The sister knew about chiropractic, and she says, "We need to take you to a chiropractor." The patient had been injured, said, "I cannot go to a chiropractor, I'm in too much pain." But the northern sister prevailed, and she finally got into the office. We examined her, had more x-rays made, and we found an area of her spine where she'd been injured. We explained that to her, and we thought we could either correct it or improve on it a lot, so we began to work on it with chiropractic adjustments, and with about 3 days, her pain began to get better. And with about 3 months, she was practically out of pain, so she was singing her praises, and that really stands out. I won't get into all the ways she responded health-wise, other than just getting rid of the pain, but she had a lot of other responses as well. But she was able to come out of the pain and recover from her injury and begin to enjoy health again.
Unfortunately, there are still some people that have a misconception about chiropractors and they're afraid of chiropractic. What would you tell that person that's afraid of being adjusted?
We still run into that, not as often as we used to, but we still do run into that problem. My best answer to that is that we do really care about our patients, and we treat them the same way we would like to be treated if we were in the same position. We explain to them there's a lot of techniques in chiropractic, and we know that there's some scary stories that's got out there. And we know that some people still think about going to a chiropractor and getting your bones popped. And it's true, sometimes when we adjust a misaligned vertebra, it does pop, and sometimes it doesn't. The pop is not necessary. But the main thing I tell them is that we have been trained in Palmer, And Palmer teaches us to be very specific. By being specific and gentle, hardly ever we create pain. So we just assure them that we'll take care of them as if they were family, and then be very specific, and we won't go trying a lot of new stuff just because we think it might work.
What would you say is the number one question you get asked as a chiropractor? Can you share a little bit about that with us and how you would answer it in your office?
Probably still the number one question is, my friend says I should come to see you. And I says to my friend, look, I've got a stomach condition. Why would I want to go see a chiropractor? So my explanation is that all stomach conditions come from the spine. But when you have a stomach condition, for example, we could be talking about a kidney or some other organ, but it's hard to realize how the spine relates to the stomach unless you know that the stomach does not have a brain. The stomach depends on a control mechanism to tell it what to do. If we find an area in their neck or spine that looks like it could be the problem, then we'd x-ray and explore further. If we can correct that and the brain becomes in charge again, then the stomach begins to function like it should. Fastest response with a stomach condition happened right on the table while I was adjusting the patient. I found an area down between the shoulders that the vertebra had become subluxated, and we made a specific adjustment on the vertebra. It moved good, it corrected. The nerve supply got to the stomach, and he says, my stomach pain has gone. I says, really, that fast? If the brain is in charge, it tells the organs what to do and when. And it's just that simple.
Again, Dr. Goode, thank you for spending your time with us today and sharing a little bit of your wisdom with us. We really appreciate it.
Well, it's my pleasure. I'm always glad to talk about chiropractic and spread the news, because there still is a lot of people who don't realize that chiropractic can help most any area in the body. We're not a cure-all. We don't claim to be a cure-all. However, if you've got an interference to the nervous system and the brain's lost charge of something, that part's not going to work as well. It might work pretty good for a while, but eventually it's going to not work well. I have my own pet theory. I'm not sure any scientists have proven this yet, but I believe if you can trace the origin of most conditions, I'd say 90% of the conditions, if you can trace the origin to the first thing that went wrong in the body, it would be like a nerve supply to some tissue. The tissue begins to lose its health, the resistance drops low, and then pathology develops. I think malfunction comes before pathology in most instances. And it has been my pleasure. Thank you so much for those questions and coming out and interviewing me.
Thank you.